Welcome back to Apatros Review. In this episode, Tiger House. Hi there, welcome back to Apatros Review. I'm your host, Milo Sepka, and join me as I'm taking a ride through the wild world of science fiction action horror, all from my personal DVD collection, and plus a few Blu-rays, videotapes, TV shows, video games, and even a few books. Now in this episode we'll look at Tiger House, which was a 2015 direct-to-internet streaming DVD film from, it's basically a co-production between the UK and South Africa. Now, it originally came out in Taiwan on the 24th of July 2015, and then in the UK on the internet release from the 24th of August 2015. In Australia, it came out on the 9th of September 2015 on DVD, and in US, both on DVD and internet, on the 3rd of November 2015. Now, Tiger House was a 2015 home invasion thriller that was co-production between the United Kingdom and South Africa. The story is set in Britain but entirely shot in South Africa, with the post-production work done in the land of Old Blighty. I'm talking about the UK. The film was released in Taiwan first, then put up on internet release in the UK, before seeing a DVD release in Australia, and a combination internet DVD release in the US. I've already mentioned the dates. Cast in the lead role of the top former gymnast of Kelly is Kaya Scodelario, who is a half-Brazilian, half-English actress who has gone on to a series of other films, usually involving her facing some tough challenges. I'm not necessarily keen to watch gangling-based home siege films, but picking this one up as an ex-rental from the last operating video store in my area during its final fire sale, I was thinking this could be good. It turned out to be a surprisingly decent film, and quite worthy for the $2 I spent buying the DVD. It was an ex-rental. As you can see, I'll show you the cover in a sec. That's basically what it looks like. It was actually released by Pinnacle Films twice. This is the first release. Now, the story is economically structured to work with a low budget, and it's kept really simple. Kaya Scodelario plays Kelly, a tough-as-nails gymnast who has had to quit her profession after her stupid boyfriend accidentally shoots in the leg with an antique crossbow that's smuggled in pieces from France, a career-ending injury. Now working stacking shelves in a local supermarket, Kelly sneaks into her boyfriend's house one night to inform him that she's pregnant, much to his surprise. And by the way, he was actually grounded at the time, because his mother found out that he and Kelly were having sex. But Kelly isn't the only one who plans for the house. 4 armed thugs break into the house and hold the family at gunpoint, in order to force the father to assist them in raiding the holding depot where he works as a driver. Because Kelly's presence isn't known to the thugs, or the boyfriend's parents for that matter, Kelly manages to avoid detection, hiding under her boyfriend's bed. But complications arise when the thug's leader is badly wounded in a scuffle, basically takes a shard of glass to his kidney, and his buddies carry him to the same bed where he starts to have second thoughts about his career choices. And Kelly now has to figure out a way to both escape the thug's attentions and to save her boyfriend's family from being killed, even though it soon becomes apparent that somebody in the family arranged for this whole sorry situation to occur. Tiger House may have been done low budget, but it's a pretty neatly handled B-thriller. In the lead role, Scodelario handles the acting end on a solid performance that impresses me very much, even though this isn't exactly a standout movie. The film doesn't have much on the action front, and there are times when the going gets so slow that I had to find other way to keep watching, and I am one of the most patient viewers out there. When I was in high school, I actually waited 2 weeks for a teacher to give me something I needed for a homework assignment. I didn't lose any marks. Now, for my review screening, I was watching this on the family TV with my mother, who was initially reluctant to watch. I had been making her sit for some of the Italian horror films in my collection, including a few Lucio Fulci Italian zombie films, much to her discomfort, although she ended up liking some of them. But in the end, she found this one pretty decent, and I concur. The suspense, when it's applied, keeps you inching towards the edge of your seat. Examples include the moment where Kelly has to retrieve her backpack from halfway across the bedroom, while baddies sitting nearby going through Kelly's boyfriend's computer, providing a mild jump shock when the wounded leader's hand nearly falls on her head. There's also a part where she uses a soccer ball-shaped alarm clock to provide distraction with its alarm, so she can use the gymnast's timing to flee the room without being seen or heard. And there's also the various confrontations she has with each of the thugs. The leader ends up helping her by shooting the most sociopathic member of his former crew. The climactic twist, where it turns out the father had engineered the whole thing to flee his family and mounting debts, only to be subject to a literal shotgun divorce from his wife. She basically shoots him in his chest. It's an interesting note, although it really doesn't gel too well together, since the film tends to become unglued by this point. It should also be noted that this film is quite short, with only a 79-minute runtime. In powerful mode, that is, and plus doesn't have too much of a chance of overstaying its welcome, so it's reasonably short. The film also ends on a pretty decent conclusion that provides Kelly with a much better future for her and her unborn child. The stolen money winds up becoming hers. And while the film isn't exactly a solid entries type of genre, it is at least an agreeably passable one that you'll end up liking a fair bit. Now for the gore. Kaya Delario pretty much wipes the floor with two of the thugs using the same crossbow, and also using the very same crossbow bolt that originally went for her leg. She kept it as a souvenir, before getting some assistance from the dying leader of the thugs. Not exactly a bloody film, and there's no nudity here either. Bare skin wouldn't work for this type of story, and it's good the filmmakers had the sense to avoid that here. Now Tiger House gets a C+, 5 out of 10 rating from me. It's not really a solid film in the home invasion thriller genre, but at least it earns its pay, with a passable niftiness and some reasonable tension, not to mention some good acting from Kaya Scodelario. Now for the DVD. I'll show you the cover one more time. So it looks like. Back cover. Now this was issued in Region 4 DVD by Pinnacle Films, a minor label that has been working in the rental market, although they did release many of the Asylum's later works and some horror-themed box sets, of which I'll cover several titles of which in the future. First off, the film was originally released in 2:35:1 ratio, basically full scope, and most of the DVD releases around the world are pretty much that ratio. Only the Australian release has a 1:85 ratio frame. Unless this is open matte, it doesn't really make sense to go differently from the other releases globally. And this also has a decent picture quality, although there was one moment at precisely the 6-minute mark where a grill on a wall suffers from aliasing, that flickering effect that you get in parallel lines of low resolution prints. The soundtrack is a solitary English 5-1 that works pretty okay, although the dialogue is a little bit too quiet at times. There are no subtitles, and the only supplement consists of a trio of preview trailers that play when the disc starts up and can be replayed from the supplemental submenu. Now about that different aspect ratio thing, one more time. There were a few Australian releases where the aspect ratio of the film was a little bit different. For example, the Ingle Entertainment release of The Machine, which is a film I really like. That one was basically 185, while the other releases around the world were 235. I don't know if it's over matte or cropped. And the Australian release of the Universal Soldier Regeneration, that one's also a 185. But it was actually open matte because I have the American disc to compare it to. Now, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you enjoyed this review, and that's it for this episode.